Alright, it's time to turn another bowl. Another one is similar to the last one that I made, Florida live oak wood. This time it's not a crotch piece, it's just a regular basic piece. I'm not sure what's inside and how it's going to turn out, but we're going to find out, okay? So I start, let me get this lined up here. I start by clamping this down so that I got to clean off a smooth spot here that will receive the chuck, okay? This should work okay. There we go. Easy peasy. All right, now we'll go inside. We'll put this on the lathe. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm putting this disc on here as a guide so I can take this to the bandsaw and cut a lot of the excess off so I don't have to turn it like I did the last bowl. I don't know what I was thinking on the last bowl. I think I just wasn't thinking. Alright, got it all done. It does save me a lot of work when I do that. So next thing is put on the lathe. Move the camera. Turn this on. Turn it down around as low as I can get it in the current configuration. So like 300 there. A little off balance, but it's not terrible. Alright, let me tighten it up a little bit. There we go. Alright. So what I'm going to do is straighten out the bottom, or cut the angles and cut the bottom, and work on all that first. Now I'll bring the tailstock up so we can play it on the safe side here. pushing down hard enough. I gotta push down harder. So before I go much further, I gotta put my boot covers on. All right, that looks pretty good. Let me fix that a little bit on the end. All right, so now when I get this done, I'll just remove this tenon. And this other outer ring is going to be a foot. See, the tenon, because I'm using a smaller chuck, that's too small to use as also the foot of the bowl. So I had to create a new foot. Okay? All right. Get this thing spun around. Not the best tenon, but it's a tenon for a little bowl like this. It should work fine. I'm going to shut the camera off. I'm going to move it back to the other location over there. Okay. Come on, baby. I was afraid of that whole chuck come off. All right, let me go to plan B. Oh, there's always a plan B in there. Is I just take this. The bark's looking really tight. I like that. Keeping that bark on is the goal. Okay, I'm going to take a pair of channel locks and use these to remove this. And I probably could use a wrench, but I don't know that I have a wrench exactly that size. I'm going to check. Maybe I do. I don't even know. I never tried that before. And if I do, then that'd be the best way to go. Not that wrench. Ooh, that's going to work. I just got to be able to hold this enough to... Actually, I can put it on. Chuck, maybe it can help me hold, huh? You know, I never used to talk to myself all the time until I started making YouTube videos. Now I'm constantly talking to myself. I think I'm ready for the funny farm. It's also another thing interesting is my prior job before retirement was mental health. I worked in the addiction therapy business. I worked at the VA, at Bay Pines VA. Loved my job, but all good things have to come to an end. I love retirement too. You can't work forever. All right, that's that done. Now I have some scarring out here. I'm gonna try to scrape it before I get going. I think I can scrape it and get a lot of these scars off. All right, you're not gonna be able to see me do that, so just pretend like you can see me doing it. Now what I'll do now, then by sanding it, it'll be a lot better, easier. Kind of afraid I'm going to knock the bark off. Kept it this long, I don't want to knock it off. All right, so let me move my tailstock out of the way because it's always right where I need to swing my arm. Now, this part's always interesting. Well, that's close, man, Jeff, that was close. Anyway. I'm going to use a 1/2 inch. It's been using a 5/8 inch for the heavier work. Now I'm going to use a 1/2 inch to kind of cut this just right. First I'm going to take a minute and go sharpen this. All right. Now here I can easily knock the bark off if I'm not careful. So what I do is I gently go in, try to cut the bark. From the top. Now start doing the, I don't know what to call it, I can't remember the name of it, but kind of doing these plunge cuts. Kind of makes these V's across the surface. All right, slowly. What I'm trying to do, you don't want to tear out everything from the middle and then work your way out. I need the middle, the stability of the wood in the middle. So what I'm doing is making it so my main goal is to take it from the edge first. And that's what I'm doing. If you see how it's angling down toward the edge. So if it was wet wood, it would be a lot easier to cut and everything. But then wet wood has a tendency to warp. Once you make your bowl, it's going to warp. So if you're going to use wet wood and you don't want to wait for it to dry, then you can turn it, but you got to turn it really thin. And when it does dry, it is going to warp some, but it's kind of a cool effect it has on it. So if it's too thick and you cut it wet, then it's more likely going to crack. So if you're going to cut it wet, cut it thin to prevent cracking. I just learned all this by reading and watching other people, reading books and watching other folks. So I didn't create any of this theory. All I do is learn from others. And that's the best way to get it done anyways, learn from other people. Okay. So I'm gonna, can't see very good. I need to make a clean cut right here. Yeah, that was really rough on that edge, on the outer inside edge. And so I needed, yeah, that's a lot better. Perfect. All right. All right, let's keep going. Well, I didn't finish explaining why you leave it. You want to go work your way from the outside in. By having it heavy in the middle, it helps it prevent from flexing. Because if you cut it real thin and work your way in, it'll start flexing and vibrating. And it's a pain to try to cut when it's vibrating. And it could just fall apart too. Always stop and check, because I don't know how, by eye I don't know the thickness. So right now I know it's really good. I also could use a tool, but I can tell pretty much that it's right where I want it to be. Because you see how it's funneling this way? I'm taking off some, but I'm taking out more on the edge. So Another thing I didn't mention, this is, I'm really trying to do more teaching this time. I'm pushing toward the chuck, pushing towards the chuck. I don't want to be pushing away from the chuck too much, because that puts a different pressure on this and could knock it right out of the chuck itself. So it could fail. The tendon could fail that way. So by pushing toward the chuck, it more likely is not going to fail if it was going to. So I don't know if that makes sense. It's all about pressure, which direction the pressure is going. And I didn't tell you, I'm going about 900 RPMs right now. And I can't see a thing. I'm using Florida live oak. And Florida live oak is the name of a tree here in Florida. It's an oak tree, but it has lots of interesting wood patterns. But anyway, it is dirty. And this stuff is just, when you turn it, it's just very dirty. It gets into everything. So I just have to keep, I can't see anymore. I have to keep cleaning stuff off. All right, let me see where I'm at. Okay, that's pretty good. About as deep as I want to get, too. Now I am kind of cross pushing down because I'm near the bottom, so I need to just go real thin cuts. That's pretty good. I'm going to use a scraper now and do the finishing part with it. see. I need to get a new cover for that thing, I think. It's looking really good. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a bunch of sanding. And I don't want to bore you watching me sand. Because sanding is sanding. And then we'll come back and finish the bottom. Well, I need to cut some more right here, but once I'm done, if you're going to get into bowl turning like this scraper, or one like it, in my opinion, is vital. What is that? 1.25 inches wide. You can get 1.5 inches wide. This is D-Way Tools, but other companies have it. I happen to got this from D-Way Tools, and it does a very good job to get rid of the tool marks and things from the bottom, which is very hard to do when you're not a professional wood turner. Very hard to do otherwise. Okay, so I'm going to go and get the sanding done, then we'll come back with the bottom. Alright, so I've sanded this thing pretty good. I had to put some CA glue in some spots to make sure that the bark was solid on the piece. I hate doing that, but you know, it gets to where you want to keep it, right? So now what I want to do is put some tung oil on it. I put this on it and leave it on there for a couple hours, and then we'll finish the piece with finish sanding it a little more, and then putting a wax on it. All right, this looks good. I like it. This tung oil really brings the grain out in the wood. You'll see it in a minute when I put it on the front. Sorry. If I wasn't a poor man, I would have 2 cameras and be able to shoot both sides at the same time, but I'm not, so I don't have that kind of money to buy extra cameras. I used to use GoPro cameras, but they're just so finicky. The battery, I don't know. I hate to talk bad about them. I used them for a long time, but I had problems with them. The battery lasts about 20 minutes, and then I have to change it. Camera I got now, much better. I forget what it's called. Osmo, one of those Osmo cameras. But can't really show you the camera because I'm using it. Duh. Anyway, see, look at that grain pop now. You can really see it when I put that tung oil on there. Okay, what I do now is I let that set on there for a couple hours, and then I'll come back and wipe the excess off, and then we'll go from there. I'm gonna go ahead and wipe this off now. It's been about 2 hours. Just get rid of the excess. And we'll just start the paste, sanding paste on it. I'm going to put the abrasive sanding paste on now. In the same way I put it on by hand. a little bit. I like using my hand because I can really feel the wood and feel what's going on with it. I could have put another coat of the tongue oil on, but then I would have. They recommend you wait 24 hours before you do anything more, so you put a second coat of tongue oil. If you put one coat on, you can wait about 2 hours, and then if you feel like you need more, then you got to wait longer. So I don't think it really needed it. Just exploring. Alright, so there's that much. Let me get my rag. I don't have my mic on. This might make it better with my mic on now. Alright, I'm gonna get I have a special rag I use just for this stuff, so yeah, this gets a little heavy. So I can't push it all on the edges. I just kind of let it brush it. I don't want to knock the bark off, you know. And now at the base, I'm going to push a little bit, and on the middle. All right, so the final step is wax. We're going to put some wax on before we take this off the chuck and turn it around and remove the tenon and finish the bowl. These little ones can be almost as much work as the big ones at times. Depends on what you run into. I like the looks of this little bowl. It is small. It's about 6 inches on the long end. So it's pretty small. Not too small. Run around 700 RPM. Now the goal here is to kind of melt this wax so it melts and becomes like a hard shell over the wood. What I'll do is I'll stop, use air compressor, and then remove any excess that's in the bark. And then that'll pretty much be that part done. Then we'll take it off the chuck, flip it around, and work on the bottom by getting rid of the tenon. I probably already said all this. I went to lunch and I come back and I start repeating myself of things I probably already said. This one's made for this chuck. So what we do now, wasn't quite ready. All right. Kind of shove it into the chuck that way, and it kind of holds it, or it does hold it. We'll take this one off and put the small one on. This is kind of a two-part. I'm going to use, actually I probably need to move the camera so you can see. So let me do that. Alright, so you should be able to see this now. It's going to be a very basic thing that I'm going to do. I'm going to do this. It's going almost 800. I'm just slowly removing this tenon. That's pretty good. What I have to do is I got to take this out to the drill press. Put a bit on it. I got this bit here out to the drill press, and I'm going to put a little small hole for the medallion. So I'll just go do that. And if you've watched my channel before, you know what I'm doing when I put a medallion in. So I'll be right back. Alright, so I cut that out so I could do that. Now I'm noticing a lot of big cracks, so I'm wondering if I shouldn't put some CA glue in there to try to keep them from continuing cracking. So I don't know yet. I don't know. I think I'll just glue in the medallion and call it a day. So I'll come back when it's all done. Alright, I got this little bowl finished. It's just a basic bowl, Florida live oak wood. I like how they have these patches of white and brown in them. You can see the bottom too. It's had a pretty significant crack through it, but it's held together good. But I went ahead and added some CA glue in it to help support it. But you know, that's no reason to throw a bowl away. It can still hold peanuts. So anyway, with that, I'd just like to say thank you very much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. And if you also think about it, ring that notification bell, and you will be notified when I have new videos come out. So with that, I'd like to say thank you very much for watching. God bless. Have a great day.